I know when my sister was looking for her car, I told her from the get-go, I said, I think you ought to look at a Jetta TDI. Well, she had ridden in my Power Stroke a little bit, and she goes, I don't want something that'll sound like a tractor. And I said, I said, get a newer TDI. I said, yeah, the older ones are kind of clanky, but yeah, I like the clankiness. Yeah. Her car, you cannot tell it's a diesel once it's warmed up. When you start it up in the wintertime, yeah, it hammers and smokes like no other. But once it gets started, and I think that's due to 170,000 miles and probably a couple of faulty glow plugs. As you can attest to, that one morning we started.
Yeah.
I mean, it's bad. But the new diesels, I mean,
I think they have potential. It's just, you know.
But they've changed them so much. They've gone to common rail fuel injection. They've gone to so many noise dampening things.
Like today's diesels are about the power wars. You know,
Yeah.
not about efficient wars like good fuel economy like it used to be. Again,
Yeah.
You know.
But they've changed them so much that I think people have the misconception of them from back in the 80s where, you know, you see a Mercedes going down the road, somebody stomps it to get on the interstate, and you wait 6 years for it to get to 60 mile an hour, and it's loud as sin, and it's got a trail of black smoke from here to here.
This thing will scoot along. He let me drive it once, and I fell in love.
Yeah, these things will flat out fly. And this truck's 7 years old, 8 years old now, and it's still, I mean, it's impressive. But they're not powerful anymore. They've got a ton of power. They're quiet. I mean, okay, I heard a 6.7 Power Stroke run on the Ford shop the other day, and it was so quiet it just sounded like a gas engine with a valve tick, really. They start so quick in the winter, it's not even funny. I mean, I watched a guy start a LML Duramax on YouTube. He flicks the switch, and the glow plug light was literally on for less than half a second. And dog's barking. And then it goes off, hits the switch, doesn't even hammer, doesn't even hesitate, just fires right off. And that's one thing I can fault the 6-liter with, is this thing, when you start it in the winter, it's flipping ridiculous.
And then back to where, you know,
I'm going to let you take this for a second. I'm going to check on the dog.
And then back to where Joe thinks, you know, us Americans are snooty people. Well, it goes back to, again, like, I know some city people, you know, they don't want a diesel because, ew, it smells, it's noisy, it's just, you know, disgusting. Well, it's not really, you know.
It does, I mean, I can, yeah, it stinks.
Yeah, I like the smell.
I like the smell. I'm a farmer.
Yeah.
You know, they take forever to warm up in the winter and stuff, but I mean, it's a misconception, but I think times are going to have to change. We're going to have to realize that we're headed in the wrong direction.
Yeah, we're going to have to adapt our ways, or else we'll be going down. Well, we're going down now, but, you know.
I mean, and part of it is, too, this kind of irks me. At least I know I watched, I'm a fan of One Pug Life on YouTube, and he made a video. He's got a 05 6-liter of him filling up. And diesel in Canada, at least, I don't know about Europe, the rest, like Europe and stuff like that, is cheaper than gas. Well, here in America, it's not.
It used to be a few years ago, but
for what reason, nobody knows, because diesel's 2 steps closer to crude oil than gas.
Yeah, and you don't know what you're getting in diesel, you know, who knows?
Yeah, but again, thank you, emission standards.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think, I don't know, I think we need to really look into the diesels, and I think that's the way we're going to have to go. And something that, if, you know, if some of you are watching this want to get curious, get on like Ford's website, look up their foreign models of their cars, like go to Ford Europe. Almost every model that crosses over from Europe, like, okay, the new Focus that's here, the new Fiesta, the new, I think they're bringing the C-Max over, I can't remember when, but it may even be here. All 3 of those cars are offered with diesel power plants in Europe. The Chevy Cruze is offered with a I think it's a 1.6 turbo diesel.
Go to Europe to buy a car.
Yeah, go to Europe to buy a car, but you can't import them because they don't meet smog tests. Nope. RIV won't let them in. But because companies don't want to mess with the emission standards, they aren't bringing us diesels. So I think that, I don't know. It irritates me. And again, there's a huge misconception. I was chewed out by a guy driving a Prius, I kid you not, at the local gas station here in town, from out of state. I won't mention states. Lived in a big city. But as I'm pumping hundreds of dollars worth of fuel in my tank, and he's putting his 10 cents in his little tiny Prius, he looks at me and he goes, "Is it really necessary for you to drive that big of a truck?" And I said, well, I'm a farmer. I tow things. I haul stuff. It's kind of necessary. And he said, well, it's people like you and trucks like that kill our environment. And he said, this is why our gas is so high. And I'm getting kind of irritated at this point because I'm sitting there thinking, you're getting 50 miles to the gallon. And hybrids are one of the things I won't even go into that I think are stupid.
Yeah.
For many reasons, they don't last. Fuel economy, we can get that out of a diesel, and they kill the environment worse than anything out. I mean, as much crap goes in those batteries, but again, I won't get off on that subject. But I finally looked at him after a few more words that I won't repeat, and I said, I would like to see you pull a cattle trailer with your Prius. And to that, he had no reply. And I think that's part of what bothers me about society, is that people aren't educated on stuff like that, and they don't think it through. They're like, oh yeah, they're so quick to point fingers, but then they're like, if you really put yourself in the other person's shoes, it just doesn't make sense. But yeah.
Yeah, like, they don't realize that, as farmers, using tractors and stuff, diesel power and stuff, that's where their food comes from. That's where we feed their faces. My family, we run cattle. We don't row crop any, but, I mean, come on, we feed cattle with a tractor every day. Feed, bales of hay, big round bales of hay. I'd like to see a little Prius or something do that, or put a bale bed on a Prius or something. It's kind of like, yeah, exactly. They don't look into our perspectives of, one, where their food comes from, or really respect us, in my opinion. That's,
I took a class in local college here called Global Agriculture. And our teacher had us watch a really interesting documentary entitled Food Incorporated. Now, the movie was bogus. I hated the movie. I thought it was stupid. I thought it gave farmers a bad view. It's the exact type of thing that I think gives farmers a bad rap. Now, some of the stuff that was exposed in it, but they didn't show the good side of farming. But one of the things they did was they went to a grocery store in a city with a camera, and they walked up to people and they said, do you know where your food comes from? And 8 out of 10 people replied, the store. And I think that's one thing that it's just
ridiculous.
It's ridiculous in my opinion. But I understand that people who have grown up in cities, that's all they know. But I think that it all starts with education, that people need to learn stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think it's where, the government, this is my opinion, of course, you don't have to go along with this, but I think the government's persuading people to go away from diesels just because that's what the government wants. They want everyone to go to hybrid, but hybrid's not the right view as we should go. So therefore people are shunning diesels and, just kind of shunning that out of their perspectives where they don't even think about it or even, want one at all,
Well, and I'm not much one for
people telling you what to do and stuff like that.
Well, but I'm not much of one for conspiracy theories and all that.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
One thing that kind of always has bugged me, there's a video produced, oh God, here's the cat. There's a video produced maybe 10 years ago about GM's EV1, the electric car that came out. It was part of Saturn's division, or GM Saturn division in the late 90s, early 2000s. It was available only in California as an electric car. GM killed that car. They were offered as a lease-only basis, and they took them back on lease and crushed them. I mean, they've got videos of them crushed them. Why on earth would GM crush it? Those cars had one of the most loyal followings of any car out I've seen now.
Yeah.
And it's just, to me, I can't figure it out. And people have said, well, CARB, California's Air Resource Board, didn't like it, and blah, blah, blah. I truly think it has something to do with the fact that the government is in cahoots with the oil companies.
Yeah,
I think
that's the big problem. And, this is just me. I really don't care for what Obama is doing. He is relying on trying to control us, and he's really becoming mainly like a dictator, pretty much. The way he's controlled this one, the health care bill, and just
the whole thing's a mess.
Yeah. And now they're talking about the government may collapse. Who knows? So it's just, it's not we the people anymore. It's the one person wants this or that, or who's got the biggest dollar. So
yeah, and it's irritating to me. Because I filled up my truck last week and it was $140. But it's going to be interesting. I mean.